If you look at one of the earliest story trailers in Genshin Impact, you'll notice something important. It shows only 8 regions in Teyvat that we're meant to visit, starting from Mondstadt, where we were first introduced to the world of Teyvat, then moving on to Liyue, Inazuma, Sumeru, Fontaine, Natlan, Snezhnaya, and finally Khaenri'ah. There's no mention of Nod Krai at all. It simply didn't exist in the early plan. They never mentioned it. But then suddenly at the end of the Natlan quest, Mavwika tells us that there's another region we have to visit before heading to Snezhnaya, Nod Krai. Why is that? Some players, and even the developers themselves, have already hinted at the answer. They want us to better understand the deeper lore of Genshin Impact before we head to Snezhnaya and face the final arc of the game, confronting the Tsaritsa, Celestia, and even the Abyss. That's a reasonable approach, and I agree with it. We need to understand the core of the story more clearly before diving into the endgame. But here's the real problem. Why did they need to do this in the first place? The answer is simple. It's because they made a mistake in how they built up the lore. They focused too much on regional stories instead of the larger, overarching mysteries. What really happened to Teyvat? What is the Abyss? What is Celestia? These are the big questions that were put on hold. Each time we enter a new region, we help solve that region's problems. We helped Mondstadt cure Dvalin. We helped Liyue stabilize its new rule. We helped Inazuma free itself from dictatorship. We saved Sumeru's Archon. We prevented the flood in Fontaine. We fought the Abyss in Natlan. We always do something good, just like almost every protagonist in fiction. But the issue is this. After saving 6 regions from destruction, what did we actually gain? Almost nothing. Helping these regions was never our main goal. The traveler is searching for their sibling. That's the mission. We helped each Archon hoping they would share information to aid that search, but instead, most of them gave us vague hints, or just spoilers about the next region. Only Nahida truly helped us by giving valuable information about the traveler and their sibling. The rest? Nothing meaningful. And let's not forget, Archon is literally a god, but somehow their knowledge of Teyvat's true nature is surprisingly limited. Venti told us about Archons, visions and gnosis. Zhongli talked about erosion and the potential for memory manipulation. Raiden Shogun mentioned Istaroth and space-time manipulation. Nahida explained Irminsul, Descenders, and the siblings' identity. Neuvillette revealed the existence of sovereign dragons. Mavwika spoke of the Abyss and primordial power. Yes, that information is useful, but is it enough to truly help us find our sibling? Of course not. Just take a look at where the story stands now. We know about the Loom of Fate, but why is the sibling looking for it in the first place? We don't know. Why did the sibling join the Abyss and even start leading its army? Is it really to fight Celestia, as they claimed? Maybe. But that's the problem, maybe. Everything about the main lore and even our main objective of saving the sibling is still wrapped in mystery. We know almost nothing. No matter where we go, no matter how many nations we save during the Archon quests, there's no one who can actually help us find our sibling. Almost every character we meet follows the same pattern. Thank you, Traveler, for saving our nation from disaster. Do you have any questions about your next destination, or about what just happened? Where's the option to ask about our sibling? And even when we do get that option, why does everyone always say they don't know anything? It doesn't make sense. Our sibling isn't some unknown figure like Skirk, who lived most of her life in the Abyss. The sibling traveled across all of Teyvat 500 years ago with Dainsleif. I understand if the common people don't know about them, but the Archons? These are gods who have lived for centuries. They should know something, especially about key figures tied to major events like the Cataclysm. Let me remind you again, we've reached the end of the Natlan patch. The game is 5 years old, but what do we really know about the core lore? What about the moon goddesses, Celestia, the Tsaritsa's true plan, the rest of the Fatui harbingers, the 5 sinners, the Abyss, Dainsleif, the other descenders? These are the questions we need answered. These are the parts of the story that actually matter, because answering them is the only way we can achieve our top priority, saving our sibling. And the fact that all of these questions are still a mystery, or only hinted at through vague crumbs, even after 5 years of content, just doesn't make any sense. Honestly, I can't even imagine where the story would be if Dainsleif hadn't dropped a major lore bomb at the end of each Archon quest. So here's my hope for the upcoming Nod Krai arc. I hope they focus on the real problems that have a direct impact on the main lore and our mission to find our sibling. Not just another regional crisis that becomes irrelevant the moment we leave that nation. If they do this right, Nod Krai could finally make the Archon quest feel essential again, not just like a side story with no lasting impact. It's kind of funny, in a sad way, how they sometimes drop massive lore revelations in an item description or a web event. I mean, really? What kind of storytelling is that? They have the budget, the writing team, the animator, the technology, everything they need to tell an epic story, and yet they reveal major lore through an item. Take this, for example. Do you know how old the Traveler is? 500 years? 1,000? 6,000 like Zhongli? Nope. Turns out even Zhongli is basically a baby compared to how old the Traveler actually is. Traveler is someone who probably older than million years old, but they never explain that in the main story. They never show how powerful or experienced the Traveler should be. All we see is someone who can absorb multiple elements to ended up not using that avatar ability on the battle, and someone who's strangely obsessed with the dull blade. No one ever seriously questions their age or their potential, even though it's obviously a big deal. So once again, I really hope that in Nod Krai we'll finally face a meaningful threat, one that connects directly to the core of the story. One that helps us move forward toward our true goal, saving our sibling. Not just another political drama that becomes meaningless the moment we cross the border.